Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited to see all of your faces and get to meet you all. This is amazing. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come hang out with all of us. So I'm Jenna Kutcher. I am one of the Aerie Real role models, and this is my wonderful mother, Sue, and then our little baby girl who is very Aerie Real with her sweet thighs, named Conley. So let's go down the line and just introduce who you are and maybe what you do, and then we'll get started.
Perfect. I'm Brenna Huckabee. I'm a Paralympic snowboarder and Aerie role model this year. And this is my daughter, Lila, with her blankie in the front row, and my mom, Christy.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, she's already introduced me. So my name is Christy Huckabee. I live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm a registered nurse. And I just like to thank Aerie for letting me come and be on this panel and talk about my favorite subject.
Hi, I'm Molly. I'm a YouTuber and a motivational speaker. And this is my son, my fur baby, Gallop. He's my guide dog. I'm blind, so he is my eyes, as well as my mom, Neve, or Niham, if you pronounce it phonetically. As we frequently, I always know when somebody doesn't know us, when they're like, hi, is Niam there? I'm like, nope, there's no Niam here, just a Neve. So, yeah, this is my mama.
Hi everyone. So I am actually called Molly when I go to Starbucks. They'll say, "What's your name?" And I go, "Molly." It's really easy. So I'm Molly's mom, and I work with Molly full time, doing things like her videography and Instagramming, and mostly just having lots and lots of fun with Molly.
She's the woman behind the Instagram.
I was going to say, well, we hear a lot about Instagram husbands, but Instagram moms are where it is at.
She's not like a regular mom. She's a cool mom.
Mom, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Sue, and I'm Jenna's mom, Conley's grandma. I am also a registered nurse. I teach nursing at a community college, and I guess these two joys of my life. So, yeah.
Okay, so since we are approaching Mother's Day, I wanted to first just kick this off and say that there is a very weird relationship with Mother's Day for a lot of women, and I was kind of thinking about the significance of this year and embarking on Mother's Day, but also some of the crappy years waiting to be a mom. Wow, we are just kicking this sucker right off. So wherever you're at in your relationship with your mom or your body, or where you're headed as a mother, or maybe you don't want to become a mom too, I just want to encourage you to know that Sunday, is it on a Sunday? It's on a Sunday, right? Yeah. Sunday, Mother's Day. Just whatever you're feeling, it's okay. So I kind of wanted to just start because I know it's really easy to see moms and babies and wonderful relationships, but a lot of people aren't blessed in that way. So just wanted to kick it off with that thought. So first things goes to our moms. I'm skipping you first. Okay. That makes you first. Tell us a little bit about Brenna as a baby. Or a girl, a young girl maybe.
Young girl or a baby. Oh my God. Well, let's see. When she came into this world, she came in screaming and let us know what part of what role we played when you got here. I love you. When she was young, she was just amazing. She came out knowing what she wanted to do, where she wanted to be. She very decisive. Remember this, she used to hold her little finger up when she was this age. You go, Mom, I made a decision. Very vocal. Yeah, she would tell everybody her name was Brenna Huckabee. I get to tell all the stories. She was funny, and oh my gosh, we had lots of fun. For a while, she was a gymnast. She's an amazing gymnast. She got into gym mostly because I wanted to spare my television set because I knew feet were going to go in there. How many times she kicked her brother? We were smart enough to know not to walk behind her, except for my second son, who may not been as quick. He got this a lot. So I think we put her in gymnastics. I figured that would wear her out. Didn't. And then she was told never tumble on your own. You know, you couldn't, she had to be trained to tumble. Don't do it at school. Then her older brother, another brother, told on her. So that got her in tumbling class. You know, she just decided to learn and do it on her own. So she had no fear. And she was always trying new things and testing her limits. And when we put her in gym, we found out that we just even the coaches were like, let's just see, she's going this way, let's see how far she goes. And unfortunately, she was diagnosed with cancer at 14. And so that stopped her career. But what was amazing about Brenna is that her ability to say, okay, this is where I am. This is what's happened to me. I'm going to use what I have and make a new goal for myself and set new heights. And she got me through it. I'm supposed to be the mom. I'm supposed to be the one that gets her through it. And with me, I mean, she got me through it. And one of her favorite sayings was, "Mom, all things are possible." And she was right. So I can't even express inside the joy in my heart that I have to watch her grow, to be part of her life, to be, I'm so blessed that she's silly and likes to do fun stuff, because to me you're just everything. You're fun, and I just love you so much, you know. And I don't get to see her an awful lot because she's in Utah, and my husband and I decided that we were going to open the door for her, because her battle that she fought, it was worth a life worth living, and we wanted her to have that happiness. We wanted to see that light back in her eye again. And so that was our goal. And when we went to Utah, she said, "Mom, I'm going to go to the Paralympics. I'm going to be an Olympian." And we were like, "Sure, baby. You go ahead. You do it." And boy, she did. She did. She rocked it. And we're so proud of you.
Oh, man.
That well.
We should have packed Kleenex for today. Oh, okay. Molly is one of the spunkiest gals I know. So something tells me that she got something from her mom. But I want to hear what Molly was like.
Blue hair over there.
I know, right? That's like
She did it before I did it. I want to point out.
So now I'm super emotional after hearing all of that, and I'm like, my focus is completely gone. But Molly. So Molly, when I was pregnant on Molly, she came after her brother, and her brother was just really relaxed in the room. And then I had this other baby, and this baby kept kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking. I was like, this is scary. I couldn't sleep at night. It was just constant. It never stopped. And then she was born, and she was just the sweetest little thing, dressed in pink, with no name for days. And we finally found a name for her that we loved, that we had at the back of our minds. But all her family in Ireland were like, "Are you sure you want to call her Molly?" And I was like, "We do." And then we couldn't name her, and then we decided, okay, we'll call her Molly. And she kind of has lived up to the unthinkable kind of Molly Brown name that we named her. And she was, as a toddler, she was just the sweetest little thing. She was so good. She kind of threw me off. And then she hit school, and then the challenges came into her life, and then her personality just changed, and she became this really strong little, I'm not going to be left out of anything. I'm going to be in the thick of everything. I'm going to be the loudest. I'm going to say what I want. I don't care what anybody says back to me. And I was terrified of her. Because I was always like, I was like really quiet growing up. I was so shy, and that this child was like, "Shh, Molly, don't say that." And she was like, "Why not?" And I'm like, so I've learned from Molly, to be more outspoken, to be stronger, to try and keep up with Molly. And she's just fantastic. She just kind of bought me from the inside out. And I'm just constantly, when she was in the womb, just trying to keep up with Molly. It's just, we run all over the world, and there's never a quiet day. And we work 24/7, and it's just fantastic. And I love being with her. and she's just amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
I love it. Molly, I can only imagine you as a child, and this is giving such a good illustration.
Crazy.
All right, Mom, it's your turn. Microphone. She's an amateur. It's okay.
This is all big stuff to me. I guess when I was pregnant with Jenna, my husband's from a family of all boys, and his family was too, so I never was expecting a girl, and I was pregnant at the time they didn't do ultrasound. So I guess, first of all, when she came out, I was like to the moon and back that I had a daughter, because I didn't think I ever would. I thought there were only male sperm in our family line. So that was amazing. And at the birth, I had both my mom and my mother-in-law there too to witness it. So I felt like she was surrounded by powerful women right away. She, growing up, was always an inner confident girl. A quick story that sums it up, I think, is she has an older brother, and I was like working concession at the hockey stand as a hockey mom. And Jenna would go off skating in her little double blade skates, and she'd come back holding hands of like older girls, and she would introduce herself and no, Jenna would just go up to people and say, "Hi, I'm Jenna, Jenna. Will you be my friend?" And she would come back. She's like, "Mom, I made a new friend." And so she's, I guess, I mean, as a young girl, she's always been more bold too. I'm more private than her, and she's been more bold at speaking out, speaking her mind. I've learned a lot from her. But she's a very strong woman, and I'm just blessed to be in her life. So that sums it up.
I told my mom that she had to come to this event, and she said, "Do I have to wear underwear?"
That sounds just like my mom. Like that is.
I'm wearing underwear. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like private. Hello.
Hello. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna feed her in 1 second. So tell us when you knew Brenna was gonna do big things.
When did I know Brenna was going to do big things? Wow. I'm not really sure there was a defining moment, because she, like I said, she was always goal oriented, and she was very decisive in what she wanted to do and where she wanted to go, and even though life threw her curves, she was always was able to be resilient and adapt. So I knew that I had something really, really special in my daughter. You know, I just didn't know exactly where that would take her. So when she told me, I pretty much can bet that when she tells me she's going to do something, it's going to get done, and it's going to be done well. And that I have no doubt. When she told me that she was going to be an Olympian, I didn't doubt it, but it's like something that you cannot wrap your head around. You know, you cannot, it wasn't in my world to be able to wrap, and I still can't wrap my head around it. I mean, my baby girl is a double gold medalist. I'm just like, It is, it's amazing. And I guess I just know when she tells me she's going to do something, I know she's going to do it. And I guess at that moment, because I don't know, you know, I didn't know exactly where, but I knew it was going to be something. You know, so yeah, if that helps.
Yay. Okay.
Top the Olympian. No, it's like mom brag day. Oh, it's so weird. I love it.
Yeah. You kind of have to try and be. Molly's a YouTuber, so you have to be kind of hit the line of being very modest but doing really exciting things. So we're used to trying to be super modest, so it's difficult to be put in a position like this because you want to like not say too much, but the other thing is Brenna and Molly sound identical. Like
Literally, when you're saying like things, I'm like, that's what you say all the time.
Yeah, so all the things that you've been saying are like the things I was going to say. That's okay, it's fine. So the defining moment, I was talking to Molly about it this morning, was when she was in her teenage years. Like all along, it was the same thing. Every project, she wanted to do every single activity. Basketball, skiing, like everything. And every single thing she did, she just hit the top. even if it was basketball, she would be at a Friday night basketball with her friends, couldn't see a thing, was getting knocked down on the court. And then they'd do a shootout and she'd win the competition because she'd learn how to throw the ball in and she'd win. And then she got the cutest boyfriends and they were the best looking and all the girls wanted those boyfriends. I'm like, how do you do it?
Now I've been single for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I got it all.
But the defining moment was when she was asked to be Miss Teen Canada, a pageant, which we don't have many in Canada. And we was like, a pageant? Okay, it's kind of not us, but let's try it. And she started speaking in front of schools, and I was just blown away. I'd just sit there, and she'd just stand there with no script, and she'd stand there for 40 minutes, and she'd just talk to the audience. These kids were like silent, and she would have her little EPs, her singing, and she'd sell them at the end, like out of her backpack, $5 each, and she'd make all this money. I'm like, that's so smart. And she had all these ideas constantly, and she was always going to move to LA, and she was going to, like, you know, live the life of a movie star. And I'm like, great. And then again, it's just, as parents, we're just constantly trying to keep up with her. But she's standing there in one of the schools. I'm like, this is incredible. Like, she's talking, but it's like as if there's something channeling into her brain, and she's just opening her mouth, and this incredible stuff was coming out of her mouth. I'm just like, this is amazing. So we just kind of followed along, just saw what she'd like to do, and as I say, just tried to keep up with her, and she just keeps nailing it, and we just keep being shocked. Her dad's like, she just got another really good deal, and I'm like, I know. And he's like, it's kind of crazy. I'm like, it's Molly. And you know, we're just thrilled with her. We just have such a fun time with Molly, and I love you.
Oh, this is special. I'm excited. Okay, Mom, was there a time when you knew I was going to do something, quote, big?
I was pondering that. I don't know.
I am blown away by you.
No, my point is that I feel like she has always had an inner confidence, but I feel like I've always said to, like, go for something, and if you don't get it, you're no worse off than if you didn't try, kind of mantra. So I feel like you've always steadily gone for things. I'm trying to think of a defining moment, but I feel like it's just been a steady progression of solid things. Probably maybe a defining when you really branched out was when you did leave your big job, your corporate job, and branched out on your own. But again, I said, what about this? What about that? And you had planned it all out. And then from there, it's just gone crazy. So I feel like you're a visionary and you go for it and you don't look back and you're bold and confident. And I feel very passionate about how she's inspired other people. Because I always say I teach nursing students and I see my students and I love what I do and they're in front of me, but her vision is like so crazy big. So. Yeah.
We cry in my family a lot. I want to hear from the ladies. I mean, we're all ladies, but from me, Brenna, Molly, I want to hear you describe your mom, because that wasn't a question, but I feel like our moms are doing an awful lot of the talking, but I think there's something to be said about being raised strong and knowing that you can go for it. And I feel like as your moms are describing you, I'm realizing that yes, you were born with this predisposition to make a go for it, but you also needed that supporting voice that said, yes, you can do this. So, Brenna, tell me a little bit about your mom.
Oh, my mom. I love her, but, well, not but. When I was growing up, this is like, when I think of what my mom was like, unconventional, I think. Like, she's like, I want to go to the beach. We'd go to the beach. Like, it was never like, we're going to go to the beach in 3 weeks and I'm going to plan it out. It was like, I want to do it. Let's go. We're free. And I love that about her, because for me, like, that is not something that comes natural to me. I'm like, we got to plan it out. I've got an itinerary. Like, this is what we're going to do and when. And she's not like that. And so in rules, they don't exist with my mom. And I also love that, because rules exist for me. I'm like, okay, this is a rule. And I tell Lila all the time, I'm like, sorry, that's the rules. And Lila gets it. And for me, like when I have to channel my inner mom a lot when I go for things, because it's like, life doesn't work with plans. I've had so many plans in my life. You know, I was going to be a college gymnast and on scholarship, and then I was going to go, well, at the time, become a doctor, and that was my life. And then that didn't happen. So I went to plan B, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be a snowboarder. Then I'm going to go to college and return home, and that didn't happen. So plan C, I'm going to become a Paralympic gold medalist, which that happened. But my point is like plans and rules and itineraries, that isn't always how life goes. So I always have to channel my mom and think of things and we're going for it. We're doing it. Time is now. Let's send it. So that's how my mom was, and she inspires me all the time to do that.
I love that. All right, Ma, let's hear it.
Oh, goodness. So,
Remember, we're together 24/7.
yes.
For years.
You know, my mom raised me and my brother like we were adults. Like,
It was easier.
she would just like reason with us. Like, it was just like she never treated us like children. She treated us like equals. And my mom and dad both did that. And that was, I think, what's allowed my whole family to be so bonded through everything. Like my mom, my dad, my brother, and I are so close. You know, we FaceTime every Sunday. We all get on and we talk to each other because my brother lives in Europe and my dad lives in Canada and we live in LA. So every weekend we FaceTime each other and we're always texting each other and calling, and, you know, we're just so bonded. And I think it's because they raised us like we were an equal instead of like we were their child and we had to listen to what they said. And because they treated us like equals, we wanted to listen to what they said because we were so close with them. And so I've always really appreciated that. But I think my mom and I have always, despite how close I am with my dad as well, my mom and I have always kind of like faced the world together. Like no matter what, it's always been my mom and I against everything. And when everything and everyone else in the world told me I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm disabled, my mom said, why not? You're going to do it. And whenever I would say to my mom, like, I'm going to do this thing, she's like, yeah, you are. Like, she just, you know, even when she was terrified of me trying these things and all these things I said I wanted to do, and she was like, oh my God, I'm terrified. But she would just take a deep breath and be like, okay, let's figure it out. Let's do it. We're gonna do it together. And so, yeah, it's always just kind of been like mom and I against the world. And I'm so grateful that my mom really is my best friend. And even through high school, when that like wasn't a cool thing to say, I would still say it without shame. I was like, no, my mom's cool. Like, and she was always throughout like junior school, middle school, high school, everybody would be like, your mom's my favorite mom. Like, she was always the cool mom. She was always everyone's favorite mom. And so I always got to be proud to be like, yeah, my mom's my best friend. And now we work together, we live together full time. And that's, you know, it's not cool at 25 to be like, yeah, I live with my mom, but actually she lives with me. I pay the rent,
Yes.
so.
Yes.
You know, technically speaking, I'm her boss and she lives with me. But I like feel so lucky that I get to travel everywhere with my mom and like continue to just be best friends and face the world together no matter what.
I love that. I know. Your mom is pretty cool, for the record.
Oh, thank you.
Me and my mom and sister and the babes went to California a few weeks ago, and I've been thinking about parenting in such a different way, obviously, now that I'm a parent. But I have an older brother and a younger sister, and we said that my mom did a really good job of like letting us just be us. And so we're all very different. We all have very different passions, but she has such precious relationships with each of us. And even yesterday we were talking, we went to this amazing speakeasy bar, which was the weirdest thing, having a baby in the bar. But it was fun. And we were just talking about how she was like, you were my world, but you weren't my everything. Like, I still was myself, and I had goals and visions for my life, and I brought you along with them. And so this is a very good example of me following in the footsteps and just bringing the baby along with, because I think she can learn a lot from seeing a powerful mom just like I did. So.
Lovely.
Okay, so how are we doing on time, Miss Jill? You're good. Keep going. All right. Okay, so I want to hear... what did you guys think when your daughters told you they were going to become role models for Aerie?
I thought that was awesome. You know, I mean, I really thought that they got the right girl.
Well, I have to say, I think it was the most exciting thing that's ever happened to us. And in all honesty, we were just like, this big light just kind of shone. And it was like, we've just broken down such a huge barrier. Like, it was just incredible. Like, if you asked both of us what was the best thing that ever happened, and we keep telling the Aerie people, and I'm sure they don't believe us, but we're like, this is the most exciting thing, because it was one of Molly's dreams, and she did vision boards all the way through. It was one thing I taught her was vision boards. We'd sit down. Months before, she'd said to her manager when we moved to California, she said, if there's only one company that I want to do fashion with, and I want to like break this wall down, it's with Aerie. And it's like, it's incredible. It just happened.
Yeah.
And we're both still in shock, to be honest. And every time they ask us to do something, we're literally packing our bags. And we're just like, our energy is just so clean and happy and just like, we can't wait to get there. Like, it's just, everything about it is so pure and such lovely, lovely people, so special. And I won't shut up about this unless somebody stops me, so. It's my turn to just, but thank you very, very much, by the way.
I want to hear about your guys' experience, because I know the first time I shot with Aerie, I was kind of like, is this what they say it is? Like, is it really not retouched? So what was your experience like? You are really good on timing.
My first shoot with Aerie was so comfortable. Like, when you go in somewhere and they're like, get in a swimsuit or a bra and underwear, you're like, okay. But no, it was like, this is, if this is what you want to do, this is what we're going to do. And like, when you go in for a fitting, it's like, how does this feel? How do you feel? Like, how comfortable are you? Like, that's what it's about. And it's not weird, which I love, because I mean, she's unconventional, but I come from a conservative background. So it's like, man, this is a lot of skin, but it was like not weird. It was so real. Like, just, this is you, this is us. Like, just be yourself. And like, you hear that, but to really truly experience it in like its rawness, like that's Aerie. That's what that was.
Yeah, for me, you can see I've been public speaking since I was 5, and there's a speech I uploaded to my YouTube channel that I gave when I was 10. And in the speech, I say I want to be a model. But I'm like 4'10". I'm curvy, like, you know, like it's like, and I'm blind. And disability being represented in mainstream media, I mean, I've always wanted to be an actress and a model, but the reason I turned to YouTube is because nobody would give me a shot at mainstream media work, at mainstream entertainment, and so I just made it happen for myself. And so getting to model for a huge company that I've been shopping from since I was 11. I've been shopping at American Eagle, and for the past like 5-6 years, I've been shopping at Aerie. So to actually get to work with one of my favorite brands, and when I said it to my manager back in May, he didn't even reach out to them, and they reached out like 2 months later. And I was like, oh my God, put it in the universe and it comes. And, you know, real talk, I'm 20 pounds heavier than I've ever been in my life right now. You know, I've dedicated the last few years to moving to LA, to traveling a ton. And when you're traveling on the road all the time, it's really hard to eat healthy, to work out. So I've gained 20 pounds. And for me, modeling a bikini, my first time getting a real modeling job and knowing I was going to be modeling bikinis at my 20-pound heaviest, I was like so nervous. And the whole morning I was like, oh my God, am I going to look okay next to all of these beautiful girls? And I'm sitting there getting my hair and makeup done, and then Iskra Lawrence, one of the original Aerie role model, sits down beside me, and she's eating a big sandwich. And I was like, she's not even worried about like bloating in her bathing suit. Like she's just eating her like egg and bacon sandwich. And I was just like, yeah, that's what this is about. Like being with girls who are like that. And I really struggle when I do photo shoots with stylists typically, because I'm so short, I have hips and a butt, like, you know, I'm not a typical off the rack size. And I recently did a really high fashion photo shoot And the stylist, I tried on like 30 outfits. We sent my sizing like 3 weeks ahead. We warned them so many times it's very hard to style my body. And we tried on like 30 outfits and nothing fit. And the stylist was blaming my body. And was saying, like, her assistants were like, you know, you're just not what we usually fit in this industry. And she was like, you know, like, we pull from samples, and samples are for models. And, you know, you're just not a typical model body being short and curvy. And I was like, you booked me for this shoot. You had my sizes 3 weeks ago. You don't get to blame my body, because my body is not the problem. You not getting the right sizes for this job is the problem. And Aerie is the only shoot that I've showed up on where they were like, are you comfortable in these clothes? How do you feel? Would you like to wear something else? And the clothes actually fit me because I shop here all the time. They have everything from like extra, extra small and extra short online to extra, extra large, and it's amazing. And the fact that they actually represent that in their ads is incredible. So like, I couldn't be happier.
We have somebody under control now. Sorry. Thank you for offering grace. When I did my first shoot with them, I just remember sitting in Patty's makeup chair, and Patty barely put any makeup on, and it was amazing looking in the mirror, because it was like I look like myself. And seeing women like come to life like that. It was when we did the campaign, and there was 50 real women, just women that they cast off of videos. And at first, everyone's all coy with their robe all tied up. And by the end of the day, we're running around in our bra and underwear, just feeling so free. And I've never experienced a company that walks the walk the way they talk the talk. And you can see it. I mean, it's all over their messaging, the way that they show up. And I just thought it was so amazing to show up and keep my jewelry on and keep, no one was changing the way that we were. And so it just is a really inspiring look at what the marketing message should be for women, and not what we've been exposed to. So I'm excited for our next generation to be raised with that messaging.
Actually, that's like, it totally sparked something in my mind.
Yeah.
It's the only shoot I went on where they asked me how I want my hair and makeup.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even like have somebody from creative like approve of it or anything.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, what do you want to do with your hair? What do you want? Like, it was, you're right. Like, it was totally fully me in control of my look and my aesthetic and what I wanted, which I think is super cool. And I also want to say that I work with so many brands as an influencer, and I've never had a brand go above and beyond, from like having what snacks I want on set to when we showed up for the media launch in January, at the dinner that night, they had a necklace at everybody's place. There was like 100 people at the dinner, and every single necklace had Braille on it. And my menu was brailled, and they did not ask me to do, like, they didn't run it by me, nothing. Like, they just did that. And I've never had a brand do something so special and meaningful for me.
Should we go to Q&A? Okay, so we're just going to open it up. You can ask anyone anything. Sorry, girls. And do we have a mic that we're passing? Or okay, awesome. There's going to be a mic passed around. So just go for it. It can be about anything. Someone's got to be the brave one to kick. There we go. I love it.
What is the best advice you've either gotten or given as a mother to someone?
Ooh, anyone? Microphone.
Sorry, I'm in like baby land, so like that, my head's like all focused on mom stuff.
I will just say, this sounds sappy, but I would just say savor it, because it goes super fast. And when you're in it, the days can be, I don't know, but it's amazing, and enjoy it and savor each moment. And even the tough moments, you look back and they make you stronger, and it's who you are, but savor.
Can I go? Mine, and Jenna touched on it a little bit. Or your mom touched on it. It's about her mom. About living your life and including them with it. For me, as you know, I was training for the Paralympics and I got pregnant. And at that moment that I found out I was pregnant, which I was 5 months along, I was like, well, my Olympic dreams are over. Like, I'm just going to give up. I'm going to go work at a call center, whatever. And I got the advice that just because I'm pregnant and just because I have a baby doesn't mean my life and my dreams are over. I just have to do it a little differently. And that means, breastfeeding on the road or in FaceTiming. And I get to take her to things like this, and she gets to see what my life is about and how just because you have a child, your life isn't over and you can literally continue the path. It's just different. And so like that is the best advice that I received. And I think that's the best advice I could give.
Thank you. I gave you that.
I know. But yeah.
Yeah, I told her that your dreams you and your goals now are, you include them. They now include your daughter and your family. And I actually thought the best advice I gave you was to listen to your heart, listen to yourself, listen to your gut instinct, and show the world what you love. So that's the best advice I was given came from my mother, which was stand on your own 2 feet and be independent. And so I like to think that I am, and my husband wishes not so much, but he's wonderful, so he lets me. And it's amazing to see it in my daughter, because the advice that my mother gave me, my daughter is actually living. So I know it came to me and passed through the generations. So that's the best one.
Well, along what Brenna said, my mom used to take me, she was a professional photographer, and she would take me to the weddings as a baby.
And I breastfed her.
Yeah, at the photos.
My mom came on some of them and stayed in the car with Molly, and then I run in, feed her, and then we go on to the next location. It was a lot of fun.
I think the best advice my mom ever gave me was to dream big, because the worst that can happen is it doesn't happen. And you kind of touched on that earlier, but I think now sometimes she's like, oh my God, you're dreaming that big. but you know what? Like, I took that to heart. I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, why can't I do it? So I really appreciate that.
And if there's one thing I would say to moms, I don't know if I'm on track because my focus is all over the place, but it's just keep your children very close, and role model all the time. Everything you're doing, they're picking up on. And I probably made a lot of mistakes in the past, but when I read that, I was like, right. So yeah, you're always role modeling. They're watching every single thing you do, and just keep them really close. Their friends are really important, but you're their best friend, and there's so much out there now that you need to keep them, I think, very, very close and have them dream really big.
You're going to be a great.
Yeah.
Scarlett's already this little muffin.
Oh, yeah, don't be scared. Everything's fine. Yeah. Just have lots of fun. That's the other thing. Just have so much fun. Lots of humor. Yeah.
Next question. Speaking of mothering, does that more questions?
Oh, I have one. So I always get asked or ask this on somebody's birthday, but what is one piece of thing, let's pretend that today's your birthday, what's something that you're taking from the past with you, and what's something that you will implement in the future?
Ooh, I just had a birthday. We'll see. I think taking from the past is like just going for it and like showing. I think one of my biggest goals is to show that women deserve a seat at the table. So finding that seat and sitting there, very proud. Especially just in the business world. I think there's so many powerful men, but I think they're about to be shaken by women. And then I would say the thing I'm taking into the future is define what enough is for you and slow down. And so I feel like it's easy to keep wanting more and more and more. And I think becoming a mom has been like, this is enough for right now, and I can give myself that peace and not feel like you lost your mojo or anything like that. So I think it's this balance of taking your seat, claiming it, and then showing what enough is and giving yourself that peace to be content in that season. You got anything, B?
Well, no, but I'm taking your advice like hardcore because, well, that's where I am right now. Like allowing the feeling of enough and the slow down. So I think I'm going to take that for my future. Yeah, and just practice more gratitude because that's what I did in the past. And it really helps. Like it changes when you sit there and like truly think of something that you're thankful for, you can feel it. And so I'm going to keep that from my past for my future.
It's your birthday, remember?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
You know, my mom touched on it. You know, she always taught me vision boards and gratitude and thinking positive and dreaming big and just being optimistic. And I went through a really rough period when I went blind. I went blind when I was 14, and you know, I lost everything and had to entirely rebuild my life, myself, my identity, and figure out how I was going to move forward. And gratitude and positivity has been the one thing that, you know, got me through. And all the time I hear on social media people being like, I wish I could be as happy and positive as you. And I'm like, you can. I wanted to end my life 10 years ago. And now I'm the happiest I've ever been. And so it's just about training your brain. I'm not, you know, a born optimist. I'm somebody who trained myself to be that way. And so taking from my past, just continuing to use all of the gratitude and positivity that I trained my brain to have and that my mom cultivated in me during that time of darkness.
It's beautiful. Questions? Oh, sorry,
Can I
Mama.
just say, just forgiveness of the past, like just forgiveness of everything, anything bad, just letting it go, just feeling clean, and then just, yeah, just the positivity going forward always, and yeah.
I would, on that theme too, I would say, I think it's easy to think of, I guess mindfulness is what I'm working on personally, so I just think to be present with, truly be engaged with what you're doing at this moment, because the past is past and the future hasn't come yet, and I think we're so easy to be in those other two worlds. So I've really been working hard on just when I'm with somebody to really, really be with them and really listen and really, like, again, be grateful for what we have this moment, because that's what we truly got. So.
Are you reading The Power of Now?
I just
really good book.
I've been going through mindfulness classes, and I just wish I would have done it younger. And I feel like I've always been a optimist, grateful person. And I look for the best in people, I truly do, and I focus on the best, sometimes maybe in a tainted way. But I think it's helped me with my psyche. But I keep working on just truly being present, because our mind can be a little crazy sometimes, you know?
You're my spirit animal, Mama.
She is. She's amazing. No. She's gone through a mindfulness course twice now because she's like, I don't want it to end. This is the best. I'm like, you are very mindful.
And I'm bringing, hopefully, Jen and Drew this Wednesday with me.
I will be a new mindful human. More questions, anyone? Yeah, girl.
So I feel very fortunate to work for this organization, and most of you, have echoed the sentiment that I get to feel every day around giving people an experience that they can come in and feel great about who they are, how they are today. And I am very lucky that I got to bring my mom and my daughter here to share this with me. I think for me, what I'm very curious about is, for each of you sitting up here that are role models, what advice would you give to, my 5-year-old daughter that gets to see your photos in my stores every day, around how you have been able to just be yourself and feel great about it, regardless of what else she's seeing out there and hearing out there?
I'll go. I think as a marketer, I constantly think about marketing messages and the way that we're speaking. And when you are a good marketer, your job is supposed to speak into people's pain points, which feels really off, right? Like you're supposed to hit people where they're at. But what I think is incredible about the opportunity we have these days with social media is, instead of speaking into people's pain points, we can speak into their enough points. And it's so interesting to me because I can look at my body today and be like, wow, like it is amazing. Like it is so amazing. And I feel like I've had to train myself every single day to get up and say, wow, look at those strong arms, or look at that belly that held a baby. And so much of it starts with that inner dialogue. And so much of it comes from that affirmation. And so every day I'll say to her, like, you are kind, you are a good friend, you love others well, because then guess what? She'll believe it. And so when I think about true marketing, it's speaking into, and our opportunity is to speak into the enoughness that we already possess. And so when we think about this next generation, I want for them to see themselves being represented because we were willing to become the representation.
Yes, I love that. And what I was going to say, similar to that, but for me, when I think of like a 5-year-old, or my daughter's almost 3, I do that. I feel like I want to be her voice because it starts with what she's hearing. And so every day I make sure that I tell her she's kind. I tell her she's intelligent. And I actually, because now she's at a point that she's vocal, I have her repeat back. I'm like, what are you? And she'll say that she's kind or brave or whatever it is that we focused on that day, because I want her to know, like, deep inside, that's what the true beauty is, and that's where it comes from. So you can look at all these outside sources, but when you really know from when you're a small child that you are way more than anything visual, that's when they can make powerful change in their life. And so I think because of us as Aerie role models and the positive marketers and influencers there are out there, we're able to plant that seed at such a young age. So I am so pumped to see what her high school experience is like, because I think it's going to be drastically different than a lot of ours, in a good way.
Yeah, I've always said that I want to be the role model that I didn't have when I needed it. Because when I went blind and when I was dealing with mental illness and when I was being bullied 10, 11 years ago, there wasn't people in Hollywood, in mainstream media, talking about it and being open about it and being vulnerable. And I think Demi Lovato was the first kind of big celebrity to really become vulnerable about her struggles with these issues and to open up about it. And I think it's empowered a lot of other women to start doing the same, but we still have a ways to go. And it can feel sometimes like the weight of the world is on your shoulders when you're trying to make a difference and you're scrolling through Instagram and you're seeing these other people just promoting such garbage in terms of what's important. Bikini body ready this summer and all of these things, and you know, talking about, oh, it's important to work out so you look a certain way. And, you know, I've been getting really back into fitness now that I've been traveling a little bit less, and I wrote a post about it and I said, I'm not working out because I hate my body. I'm working out because I love my body and I want to thank it. And I want to be good to it. And I want to do what it deserves. I want to be my healthiest to thank it for everything it does for me every day. And I think the more women like the Aerie role models who are starting to promote that, it's like a weight lifted off your own shoulders because you get to share it. And I just think Aerie is going to inspire so many more companies and so many more people. And you can even see it when you look under, like, love the swim you're in, or when you look under the, like, you know, Aerie real hashtags, just these real girls who aren't affiliated with Aerie in any way posting these untouched photos. And it's incredible. It's not just like a mantra, it's a movement, and it's really incredible.
Could I just add one thing? Just with a little 5-year-old girl or boy, what I really would suggest is getting them really involved in social good, you know, helping out in charities and in whatever, because it flips their mind off themselves and has them caring at a young age. And that was one way we got Molly through a lot, was keeping her super involved in giving back. So the pressure was off herself.
Yeah. From the time I was 5, they had me involved with charity work. And it did. It's true. Like, it really, you know, I fell out of it when I was in my dark period, but that's how I got out of my dark period, was getting back into charity work, giving back to others, fundraising for causes, public speaking for different issues. And my brother grew up doing the same. And it did really help. That's a good one I do.
Yeah. Next question. Anyone? Oh, yeah, girl. What is your name first? Oh, good. That's okay.
My name's
We are
Emily.
too.
Is this on? Or am I
Yeah, you're
really
good.
loud? I really resonate with a lot of you because you've gone through these really hard moments in life. And I'm wondering if anything specific, kind of took yourself out of your head where you could have just so easily been like, all is lost. What specifically helped you to be like, you know what, I got to keep going? Like, what gave you that, like, just enough hope to get past that?
I know for me, so we had 2 miscarriages before we had her. And that was when my body positivity was not positive. Just because it was like my body failed me and it failed me again. And I love all of you. No, just kidding. But just walking through that, because it's like, I can do this. I know I can do this. And believing that, like, it has to be so deep in you, that belief that it can happen. There's hormones. I swear there's hormones in this room. But, like, I mean, even when I was pregnant, like with her, it just didn't feel real, because it was like, can this actually happen? And it would have been so easy to slip back to that other belief of like, it's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen. But I feel like there's something in the pit of your stomach, whether it's a seed or whether it's something huge. And you have to just keep going back to that center. Because I think when I look at, hi Lila, when I look at most of the people that are making a difference, it's people that have gone through stuff, right? Like when you look at a lot of the role models in your world, it's people that have gone through it and come out of it. And for me, I really wanted to show that in between season, because it's not fair to say, hey, I went through this and now I'm out of it and you can do it too. And so showing up to me was just so important, showing up for life, showing up for my family, showing up for myself. So I think when you're in those seasons, it feels easier to hide. But I think sometimes when we bring the light to it, that's when that darkness loses its power.
Thank you. Sorry for
Yeah.
making you cry.
I love you.
Very emotional
I'm
myself.
feeling you, girl.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I had a different experience, I guess. I was also 14 when I lost my leg and went through cancer and lost gymnastics and lost the entire world that I knew. I lost friends and I felt isolated and alone. And I had to really open my eyes to the people that were there. And that's when I leaned on my family. I have 2 older brothers and I leaned on them. And it wasn't comfortable asking for help and opening up for the first time in your life. It's not comfortable, but you can't grow without growing pains. And also something that really helps me even today, life goes on, whether you have cancer or whatever you're dealing with, things come up, roadblocks happen constantly. And I always think, what do I want my life to be like in 5 years? And what can I do today? Maybe you're not going to completely change your entire world today, but one little step is one step closer to that end goal. And whatever that end goal is, maybe it's just happiness and peace. That one step, it's one step closer to that.
What I want to say is it's okay to give up and to feel like there isn't anything left, because I was there. So it wasn't something like, oh, I never got there. I overcame it first. Like, no, I was there. I was as bottom as it gets, and I was done with this world. And I just got so sick of being in pain and of hating myself and of hating the world that I had 2 options. And it was like, I can just go, or I can give myself one more chance to see if it's going to get better. And thank God I gave myself that chance. And, there's unfortunately, like we would all love this like magic fix-it-all solution, but those don't exist. You have to fight to get better. You have to love yourself enough to know you deserve better than that pain. And, for me, I just said, okay, I'm going to give any last bit of life I have in me to seeing if I can get better. And, that came in therapy, seeing a psychologist, which whether you're hurting in life or not, I think everybody should see a psychologist. Having that like neutral person to just like share everything with is the greatest thing you could give yourself. It came in the form of treating my body the way it deserved. So seeing a nutritionist, fueling my body through food and vitamins that fueled me instead of tore me down. Finding spirituality, finding a community through music. There was so many things. But when you have none of that and you're at the beginning of the journey of recovery, because it is a journey, you just, like you said it, you have to have the hope that you'll love again, that you'll be happy again, that you'll be strong again, that you'll have friends again, and that you will do more than overcome this. You'll survive this and you'll be better because of it. And I think what Jenna said, a real role model is somebody who doesn't just show the good moments, they show the in-between moments. And that's why I say I want to be the role model I never had, because in the industry I work in, so many girls filter every photo. So many girls share the red carpet moment, but they don't share the breakup moment. And I think it's so dangerous for young girls to look up to these unobtainable expectations for what their life will be and what they want, because when they don't get that, because nobody has that, it's going to really hurt. And so I'm so passionate about not editing any of my photos, of getting on Instagram story without makeup and with my acne out and talking about, tweeting like I'm having a bad day and I could really use your good vibes. Like whatever it might be, I'm really passionate about sharing it because that's real. You are not alone in feeling like you're at the bottom, but you need to fight for yourself because you have to love yourself enough to make it happen. And I know you're going to get there. And when you get there, because I'm living proof that you will, it's going to feel so good. And you're going to pass this on to somebody else.
Amen. That was so good.
Boom. Over yonder. Pass the mic. Pass the mic. Pass the mic.
There you go.
I would love to ask each of you what you're working on next. What's the next goals and how we in the community can support you in this.
Brenna's going to be on the Gold Digger podcast.
Yes. Actually, right now, I don't know what my goal is, honestly. I am trying to be at peace with being and taking an opportunity to be home. I've been grinding, for lack of a better word, for the games for the last 5 years. And, I feel like we talk about goal setting and reaching those goals, but then it's like, what do you do next once you get that? And I'm really living in that reality of like, holy cow, I have no idea. So I'm really working on myself to be present and to allow myself to give time to my family and see where the world takes me. I'm open.
I love that. I think something that God, it's so hard for me when it's like, what's your next goal? Because I have so many. Like, if you look at my vision board, it's like, girl, check yourself. Like, because I just want to do everything. I really want to do whatever I can. And a lot of it comes down to ultimately breaking barriers for disabled women in entertainment. Because, as somebody who grew up with that dream but never saw it happening for anybody, and was told it wouldn't happen for me by so much of society, and now that I've broken in, I'm like, oh God, I just want to open this wide open, rip it wide open and just like keep breaking those barriers in this industry, because that, we all know the harm of not seeing yourself in media growing up. So I want to be a part of, I think so many other minority groups have come a long way, but disability is still far from having its space in entertainment. So that's ultimately my goal. But I'm one of those people who I'm like, I want my own makeup line. I want to design my own clothing. I want I want to have a movie. I want to write a series. I want to do everything. I do have a really exciting project I'm working on that I can't talk about. So you have to follow me on social media so you find out what it is.
My goal is just trying to keep up with Molly. and if you could help me with that as a community, that would be really, really nice. Thank you.
Cry for help over here.
I heard help.
I feel like I'm a mix of the two of these ladies, just being in this new season. So I feel like my goal is to just be present and to say no a lot more than I say yes. But one way that I think this entire room can help all of us is a lot of times people put a lot of pressure on influencers to say the things that they should be saying themselves. And a lot of times it's beautiful to see your life or your story or your struggle represented through someone else's. And I feel like there's a weight that comes with that where we are expected to represent everyone and every story. But what I think there is a real opportunity is for everyone in here to start sharing your stories, to start showing up in the way that you want other people to, and to really start being that voice. So Iskra always says, like, if you don't see yourself or your story being represented, you are the representation. And so when you see people with large followings or big businesses or these grandiose lives, they're living their story, and that's generally what makes them so amazing to follow. So my charge for you is to start living your story, to start sharing those messages that you might not be seeing or that you might be wanting, and to really, I think, just really cheer other women on. I think that there is so much pressure on women these days. And what would it look like if you just took 10 minutes today to encourage somebody, to send a voice note to a friend you haven't talked to and just say, you don't need to respond. I just want to let you know I'm thinking of you today, or I'm cheering you on. Follow those urges that you have, because those are usually the messages that need to be heard the most. So I do think that there's a way for everyone in this room to come together and to do even more than what we're seeing. Thanks, Scarlett, for sharing your boob club. This is real, Aerie, real. I hope you picked
This
up
is the
that
most fun
soundbite.
panel I've ever been on. This is great.
I just wanted to reinforce what she said, because I grew up in an era where, liposuction was the thing to do, and 12-year-old bodies, it looked like on women, was supposed to be the most beautiful thing, and you hid all of your flaws, and and so the message for me growing up was like, was unattainable. You can't be that picture perfect, airbrushed woman and then, expect to live up to that. So you're constantly behind. And I just thank Aerie for bringing out the message. You are real. Your flaws are real. You are beautiful. You are empowering. And it doesn't matter what size, what shape, where you come from, what you do, it is important. And who you are is important, because you contribute to this world and in what you do. And so that message was unheard of for me to grow up in, And I am so thankful that I get, even though, in my 50s, it changes my life. I get to hear this and go, wow. Like when one of the things that I was most worried about in coming here today and being on this panel is I've gained 30 pounds. I've gained 30 pounds. They want to squeeze me in some jeans, and oh my God, everybody's going to see me. These are the best jeans I've ever worn. They are so comfortable. I love them. And to be here and to my next step is, what can we do? How can y'all support as women? How can we support one another? And it is, tell your story. Because we all have one, and it is an important story. And it allows us to realize that, deep down, we all have a fundamental need and fundamentally basic who we are. And that is that's the important message, is to love ourselves for who we are. We do make a contribution to this world. It is important, and it is important for one another. So I do want to reinforce what you said. And also, I'm ready to turn the world upside down. Let the men know, girls, we're here.
All right, I think it is time to wrap this up. I just want to say thank you guys all for coming, for showing up, for being here and being a part of this movement. I genuinely think this is a movement, and you're all invited to be a part of it. I want you all to show up into one of these stores and feel good and feel beautiful and worthy and feel your enoughness the second you walk in the door. And I know I can speak for all of us and just like thank you to Aerie for giving us this platform to share messages like these. And so any closing words, ladies?
Let's all shop. Yeah. So many great new spring things in here.
Well, I guess I want to say thank you guys too for being here, because we can't get our message out without having people listen and follow. So I want to thank you guys for showing up, for listening, for being here. And obviously, in my eyes, I think that means that you guys are passionate about this real change. So I want to thank you guys for being a part of this and for being Aerie Real and for being yourselves. So thank you guys.
And thank you for putting up with the babies and the kids. And the dog was the best child out of this entire
I'm a very
operation.
lucky mom. Thank you all so much for listening to us, and go make your voice heard.
Yes. Thank you, Aerie.